Hello. So I'm the last BBC Venerable Sompton introduced part of a poem, and it's one that I spent some time with during a retreat a couple of years ago, and I wanted to share the whole poem. And maybe it has a lot of images in it, so you might want to put your mind in the space of just hearing the words and seeing the images and what it evokes in you. And then I'll just talk about one little part of it that I was thinking about this last week. So this is a poem by Mary Oliver called When Death Comes. I don't know if she's a Buddhist, but many of her ideas are very Buddhist friendly. And she's quite a talented poet. So, when death comes like the hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me and snaps the purse shut, when death comes like the measles pox, when death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering, what is it going to be like, that cottage of darkness? And therefore I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and I look upon time as no more than an idea, and I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy and as singular. In each name, a comfortable music in the mouth, tending, as all music does, towards silence. In each body, a lion of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say, all my life, I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom, taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world. So there are many images and thoughts in this beautiful poem, and the one, for some reason, that has stayed with me often is this line of a flower as common as a field daisy and as singular. And so I think sometimes it helps me think about who is just the mere I. You know, kind of taking the ego out of the equation. And so just it's quite a nice image to play with and think about my life as common and as singular as a daisy in the field. And so recently I was reading this biography of Tenzin Palmo, and she talks about Therese of Lisieux, the Saint Therese. And what she said about her, one thing she said that maybe, actually I want to read this biography or autobiography, is one way that she thought about herself as it was kind of like this image of just a flower that God was pouring light down on. And so she didn't feel this need to be anything puffed up and special, and, you know, kind of how our ego and a lot of my culture wants you to be this certain thing. You don't feel as common and singular as a daisy. You more feel like you need to, I don't know, sparkle and be in the limelight and be something more than we really are. And so I really like this idea of her complete acceptance of herself in quite a balanced way of seeing her faults, but also seeing her motivations and her intentions, and just being this, you know, she, in her worldview, you know, with her religion, she didn't need to be anything special because God's light was always there, shining on everything. And it's just, and I think of it really in terms of everyone having Buddha nature. We don't need to be anything more than what we are. Just common and singular. So maybe that helps you think about the mere I without the added content.